this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about confidence. It was going to be called something different, but I decided against that title. And so, what made me want to talk about confidence, and I know there's another video called Confidence, but this might be ending up called something else. I don't know yet, but we're just going to go with confidence right now. And just believing in yourself. Really just understanding who you are. Maybe that's what the title will be, understanding who you are. I don't know, but like I had this put on my spirit earlier. It was just I had this idea while I was driving. I couldn't write it down. I couldn't do anything, and it just everything that I had learned during today, everything that God had showed me about myself and showed me about other people, it just really allowed me to see myself, you know. Like I know I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting and spending a lot of time with God, but maybe it'll be called I Finally See Me. You know, I think that would be a cool title. I wish I had said that at first. Now it's like a minute into the video and and it's like, "Oh, yeah." But what made me want to call it that is just because of all of the self-reflecting and the things that I have been doing. And it has really been giving me insight. It's so funny because I had talked about all of the things that I had lost. I had talked about all of the things that I had been going on in my life, and the way that things didn't turn out the way that I expected them to at all. And I just didn't know how things were going to continue, or how I was going to do this, or how I was going to do that. And it's so funny because even though I didn't know, and even though I felt like a little like just wandering around in life, floating around, I really just felt like I didn't know what direction I was heading. Like I felt like I was just at a standstill at one point in my life and nothing was happening around me. I wasn't moving in one direction or the other. I was doing things, and at the time it just seemed frivolous. It seemed like it meant nothing. And the whole time God was using those things to do something else in my life. And I know a lot of the times we like to think of it being something that have to do with money. Like, oh, because the only time we could say we're blessed is if God is blessing our finances. But God literally blessed my mind, my soul, and my spirit. Like during this fast. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 days that are left of the fast, but I just of Lent. But I really have been learning so much about myself. And it's so weird because I really was feeling like, okay, is God enough? That was one of the questions I asked myself at the beginning because I had listened to this young lady who was talking about her single season and her journey, and she had wrote a book called Being Single in a World of Couples or something like that is what the name of the book is. If I remember it, I'll put it in the description. If not, I'm going to try to remember though because I think it will really bless some people. And she just kind of talked about her journey and the things that she was aspiring to have in her life, which she knew she wanted to get married. She knew she was going to get married, or like God hadn't told her she was going to get married, but she knew what a healthy relationship looked like because her both of her parents had been together and had showed her a good representation of what that would look like. And so she had this idea in her head of what a healthy relationship would look like. And everywhere she went, she was just constantly looking for it. And every single person wasn't the person. And she was just like, God, like the one guy that she was really into, like really, really into, he ends up liking her roommate or something in college, and he treats her the way that she always wanted to be treated. She wanted to be, him to call her. She wanted him to be intentional. She wanted him to be, I don't want to say pursuing because it's not a hunt, but just have an intentional like direction for where he was headed and things like that. And he wouldn't do any of those things for her, but he did it for her roommate. And she had to literally watch him be with somebody else and treat her the way that she wanted to be treated the whole time. The things that she wanted that seemed like they were so absurd, like it was ridiculous for her to want to be valued or want to be seen as, you know, honored, you know, like that was asking too much. But for this other person who was probably grace for him, it wasn't too much to ask for. And so so she just had a moment with God, and God had said, "Is he enough?" And she really took a moment in and asked her and really was honest with God, because God knows the answer. So it really was no reason for her to lie. And so she just says, God, I want you to be enough, but right now you're not. Can you make it so that you are enough for me? And she said she went on this journey for a year and a half, just, really spending time with God, really mourning being in a relationship, having her dad walk her down the aisle, having kids, like everything that, she would imagine for her life in a marriage, or, something like that. And once she got to the point where she was so content with just being alone, here comes this guy out of nowhere at the perfect appointed time, of course. God's timing. And he just comes in, and on the first date, she said she knew that he was the one. And God said yes. As soon as she got on the date, God said yes. The second date, he met her parents, and he had told her dad that he intended on marrying her. And they still waited a year because they wanted to show God their obedience, and they didn't want to rush, because God would never have you rush into anything. And I'm not saying for people that just know and they get married in 6 months, something's wrong with that. That is their life to live. It's not me up to me to tell them my opinion of the decisions that they decide to make for their life, especially if that's right for them and God has already approved this person for them. But this is what worked for this other lady. She waited a year just to show her discipline, just to show that, God, you are still the most important thing to me. I'm not rushing to get married, because even though I know this is the one, I'm not I'm doing things on your time. I want to show you that I'm obedient, you know? And it's funny because I really, during this fast, have really been asking myself that, is God enough? And I really hope that everybody that watches this video asks themselves that, because sometimes we keep trying to fill that empty spot with other things. We try to fill it with, this person that we think is just going to be the one. And God is the only one who could fill my soul. Like if he adds in a kingdom spouse, that would be amazing at this point, because now that I'm actually into the idea. But I also don't want to rush. And I know that's weird for me to say it like that, but I really want to take my time getting to know the person. I want to know what type of person this is. I want to learn a few things. And I know some people will say, well, in marriage, you'll learn things. Listen, this is what I would aspire to have in my life. I'm not saying this is exactly how it's going to turn out. I could be the 6 months person for some reason, but I'm really saying that I really want to be friends with the person first. And I don't mean like we're friends and they have no intention of ever being in a relationship. We're just friends forever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we are intentionally getting to know each other and we're building a friendship first. And after we have built a friendship and we started courting, and then we go into, this relationship status after we've, the courting process, then I know some people are like, this is too much. I'm clicking off of here. Just be patient. Listen. And after the courting process, then the relationship, and after the relationship, the engagement, and after the engagement, the marriage. Like that's how it would happen in my head. In real life, you don't control anything about your life. The only thing I control is what I do. That's it. Everybody else is just going to be themselves. Humans are going to human. So God just got everything. I'm just here. I'm a vessel walking around this earth just trying to be of service and be intentional. That's it. That's all I know. And so that's what I'm going to do. And when God decides to send, positions, opportunities, people in my life in a, friendship type of way, all the way around, or in just, eventually a romantic way, then that's up to God. It's for the glory of the kingdom. It's not for my benefit. It's not just because, although it would be nice, for me to have human interaction in that way. I don't know. I don't know why I did this though. What is that about? But I mean, human interaction, and I'm still doing hand signals, but it's just a thing now. But yeah, just, you know, I think that is cool. I don't know. But yeah, and I'm gonna stop talking about that now because obviously, like, I'm starting to just do one of those things. And so, yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a cool thing. It could happen, it could be cool, whatever, But yeah, it is what it is. It's gonna sound so sad. I mean, it's gonna sound cool, but not cool at the same time. I kind of, please don't judge me. Please don't judge me. I don't even have to say this. I might not share that much information with y'all. But the one of the reasons why I like being single is just because something that I get to do as a single person that I can't do in a relationship. And I know some people are like, what is it that she's talking about? Because everything I'm thinking of. No, but listen, it's one of those things. And I I always have to reiterate this because some people that are single, especially some of the single women that I talk to, don't understand and they feel like I'm just saying it just to say it. I get lonely sometimes and I do desire to be in a relationship eventually. I'm not saying that I don't desire that. I'm just saying that I love being single and by myself and alone all in one. I just love, waking up anytime. I love making whatever food I want to make. I love going wherever I want to go without someone else's opinion. I love, just wearing my hair however I want, however crazy, silly, weird it is. I can wear it in any single style that I want to wear it in. As long as I love it and I feel confident in it, I can wear it. And I don't have to worry about somebody saying, I only like girls with long hair. I only like girls with short hair. I'm not going to shorten or lengthen my hair because that's what you want. Like this is what I'm going to do. And then, like, my style, like, I don't have to worry about someone saying, oh, well, your jeans are like this, your shirt is like this, like, I don't know. It's just the whole thing. I don't want to be controlled. I just want to be me. And hopefully the person God sends will let me just be myself and won't try to make me into, a perfect person who just never makes mistakes or somebody who just doesn't pursue her purpose at all, or someone who just only does what someone else wants them to do, or only talks when someone else wants them to talk, or who just only does what the other person wants them to do instead of being able to actually truly be happy for myself. Like, I hope that I don't like the person that God sends is the person who will be supportive of me and my purpose, be supportive of me and my purpose, who will, you know, they might not like every hairstyle that I make, but they won't make me change who I am because they want it to fit something that they like. And I don't mean like they're like, oh, I really like your hair when it's curly. And that's just like that's a compliment. It's not like they're saying you only get to wear your hair curly, you only get to wear your hair straight. The type of person who's not just trying to argue all the time because don't nobody wants that. I really don't like to argue. Like, I just want to be heard and I want to just have a normal conversation and no, we're not going to agree on everything. I just, I don't want to be at war with somebody who's on my team. I want to be working together and I just want that joy and peace. And is it always going to be rainbows and butterflies? No, I don't expect that to happen. I also don't want to just have an issue for no reason. I want to be heard. I don't want to just somebody to just know I'm speaking and not hear anything that I'm saying or tune me out or act like my opinions don't matter. Someone who truly does seek God above everything else and is intentional with their life in the way that would be cohesive with the life that I live. Like, both of our purposes, we might not do exactly the same thing, but they line up. We're headed in the same direction. We want similar things. And because we want similar things, both of the things that we're doing can work together, and it can make it so much more. Something like that is what I'm feeling on my spirit. I also, which is the reason why I don't want to rush. I don't want to meet this person who pretends to be something that they're not, and then they end up being a controlling, just manipulative. I don't know, just anything that's your worst nightmare. Like, I don't want any of those things in my life. And so it's just so, yeah, it is what it is. But, anyways, I don't know how I got into the part where I was just going to describe a person that I may or may not even be with, because we know this is God's choice. Like, I don't get a say so in this. This is just God's going to just select somebody and be like, look, I know what you need. This is it. Like, and he's going to have to hit me with one of those, psst. For me to be like, oh, okay, I see that person. Like, but now I actually can see people now that the blinders have been taken down. So I actually know people are around me now. So it's not like I'm just like walking and then somebody walks up and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, I don't do all of that. I just, and then they do their thing that they're gonna do. Like, oh yeah, I noticed that we both eat strawberries or something. Do you eat a lot of fruit? You know, and yeah, you know, I love fruit. What's your favorite fruit? Blah, you know. Oh, you know what? So what do you be doing? Do you make smoothies? Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I make smoothies, blah. And then they're like, oh, well, you know, maybe we can think of some recipes together, and you know, you just give me your number, and then you know we'll come up with some things so we can check out some smoothie spots or something like that. Like, it'll be anything, but you know what I'm saying. Like, that's the way that things just happen, and so yeah, and I'm saying all of these side notes and stories, but just to get back to this point, I really have, I really felt like God really showed me what truly matters in my life, because I try to be appreciative of everything I have in my life. And sometimes I get a little off track and my focus goes on other things. And sometimes when things happen in my life, it kind of makes me think, like, second guess some of the things that I'm doing. And I'll be like, well, is this really mine? Is this really for me? Is this really what I should be doing? Does this person have a point? Are they really this? You know, the thing with, you know, a guy or something like that. Does that mean that I'm this? Does that mean that I'm not that? And, you know, you start to have those moments where you start to think about stuff like that. And then God God showed me real quick, you better remember who you are and whose you are. And he did not bring you this far just for you to give up on yourself now. He did not bring you through the valley of the shadow of death just for you to be like, oh no, I'm giving up. Even though I made it through all of these other things with God, I just don't know how I'm gonna make it any further. And I know I'm like over dramatizing it and everything, but that's how we are in real life. And it's like whenever things get rough, we're like, you know, but God's like, listen, you either give up and I give it to the next generation, or I can give it to you. Which one do you want? And, you know, the lies of the enemy, he'll really try to tell you things about yourself that aren't true. He'll state a fact like, oh, you lost your job. Yeah, you lost your job, but that's not the only job that God could give you. He'll try to tell you, oh, that one person didn't want you. And it's like, but there's 10 other people that want you. You know, he'll try to tell you stuff like, oh, but you're whatever complexion. It doesn't, how is that even, okay, I'm that complexion. And like, you know, it's like, what, and what else, you know? He'll try to tell you things like, oh, you're always messing up. Yes, I may make mistakes. I may mess up sometimes. But guess what? I keep on moving. Every mistake is used as a lesson so that I can be better at the next thing. That's one fact. It's not the whole truth. He likes to tell you a fact about things so he can make you believe that that's all you are. But you are so much more than that. You're not just only one person that doesn't want you. You're not just only one job that rejected you. You're not just only one scenario, situation, or whatever that happened in your life. You are so much more than that. God did not create you to stay in misery. He did not create you to stay in failure and lay down. If that was the case, He wouldn't have chosen you. If that was the case, He would have never placed a purpose upon you. And it's so funny because Earlier today, God was just like, "You're this, you're that." And I'm like, "I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above only and not beneath. I am worthy because you created me worthy because you know every hair on my head. You care about me more than the sparrows and you love the sparrows, you know." And I just, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death because I know I'm going to make it through. God is always with me. He is with me always. There is nothing in this world that can come against God because God created it. That's why every time the adversary comes at you, he's just trying to tell you a fact. He's not speaking the truth. He is a liar. That's it. You know that he lies. You know he steals, kills, and destroys. He wants to destroy your focus, or he wants to destroy your determination. He wants to kill your focus, and he wants to steal your joy. That's all he wants to do. And we let him because of one fact. That's not the truth. We lean on that as if that's our entire life, as if that's our whole being, as if we're not just more than that. We're not just one person. We really aren't. We aren't just one person who walked away from us when we were younger, or didn't step out on our life, or didn't treat us right. We are not just that. That's just one fact in our life. Our whole life is not determined by one situation in our childhood. We might remember it. It might help shape us into the person that we are, but it can also be used as fuel for our purpose. That's the reason why we're chosen, because we're the right person for the job. We're the person who can relate to those other people who have went through that. We're the person who can share our testimony and change so many other people's lives. We are the person who has that strength because although we went through that, we are still here. And the adversary does not like that. He really is feeling real uneasy because he knows that you're way more than one fact. He knows that that fact doesn't determine you. He knows that that fact isn't your destiny. It's a page in your book. It is a moment in your life. It's one statement. That's it. You know how many times you said one statement and you're like, and then you keep on with your sentences, or you have other things that you say. You're conversing with other people, you have other conversations, you meet new people that you have other conversations. Like, that's just one statement. That one statement is nothing compared to all of those other stories or sentences in your life, but we give it so much energy as if it deserves that. When the pastor was preaching, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh, Jesus. Thank you. And so you see how I just switched that because I didn't want to be using the Lord's name in vain, but I still wanted to, yeah. So, and he was just saying that, everything works together for the benefit of the kingdom. And it's so true. And also that God does things that we don't deserve. We might not deserve his grace and his mercy, but because he loves us, he gives us it. So don't be entitled, but also know who you are. Don't forget that you are, who God said you are. You're not a person that's rejecting you. And like TG says, rejection is God's protection. That's not the only person who will ever like you. That's not the only job that will ever give you an offer. That's not the only car you'll ever drive. That's not the only house. I mean, unless this is your forever house and you just, that's the last house that you want to have, or something like that. Or, it's just a generational house of just being your family for decades to come, or generations to come. Like, unless it's something like that. But sometimes we forget who we are. We forget that we got that juice. We forget that, we're that person. And that, and I'm not saying in an egotistical way, I'm saying it in a winless kind of way. Like, listen, there's enough losses in our lives. We need to start celebrating the wins. And I'm not saying it because I'm trying to be conceited or because I'm trying to be egotistical at all. I'm saying it because I know who I am. I'm saying it because God didn't just make one person and was done with the whole creation. He didn't just say, okay, this is the only opportunity. Although these doors are closed, I can't just open the best door for you, Although this, friendship didn't work out, I can't create a whole new friendship that's going to be rooted in faith, that's going to be rooted in, benefiting the kingdom. I didn't just, have this one person, you know, leave your life just so that you could be left with nothing, because I replace everything that's removed. God really does do that. And sometimes we forget. And sometimes God's working things out in the background. You can't even see how it's going to work out, and it always does. And I have like my moments. Like I like to talk about in my past videos where I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna just give up. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do that. It's just a moment. It's not like an all day thing. It's like, the adversary will be trying to spiritually warfare me, and he'll be like really doing the most. And I'll be like, okay, that's enough. Okay, stop playing. And he'll just like keep on coming and keep on coming. And I'm just like, look. And I start quoting scriptures, and he flees, but then he comes back at another moment of weakness. And it's funny because I got home and I like had a moment where I was really feeling like I was in my feelings a little bit, but not deep. Like I got home and I was like, okay. I had that like at night, I feel like that's where the adversary is really trying to throw spiritual warfare in my face and make me feel like down or something. And every time he does it, God sends something that helps give me the energy to keep going. And tonight I had a moment, and I don't know how it happened. I had a good day. I was good. Everything was good. And I go to check my message on Facebook, and I get this message from this lady. I'm gonna really try not to cry because I didn't even want to post anything yesterday. I was really not feeling it. I was really in my feelings. I went to church, and I think I did a video last night. Yeah, I did a video last night. But I really was in my feelings, and I was really feeling like, I just don't understand why. I don't understand why this happened in my life. And God gave me like some words of encouragement and things like that. And as soon as I sat down and I prayed to God and I read my Bible, because I read my Bible, and I had a sermon playing on the way home and everything anyways, that gave me motivation. And then I got home and it was like, I don't know, it just the negativity, cynicism just overpowered me. And God like really put on my spirit, I didn't bring you this far for you to give up right now. I did not take you to this point in your life for you to just feel like you want to give up. And I started writing, and I posted my thing on my Facebook, and this is what I said. I feel like it's okay to share this. I said, honestly, lately I've been feeling like I want to give up. And every time I attempt to, God sends little angels that give me what I need in a moment to keep going. And it keeps going on. I talk about church, I talk about like the sermon and what helped me. And then at the end, I always say something like, look up, you've come too far to start looking down. I put like a little inspiration right at the end, so it doesn't end on a low note, or it doesn't end with that, like the story continues, you know. And today I was just like, I was feeling good, but I was just like, oh, maybe, you know, I won't post or something else. And God was saying, I really felt that energy like cover me like a blanket. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like the ants and the automatic negative thoughts just rushed in. And that's psychology today. That's not me. That's a term psychologists use to like explain when you get those negative thoughts. I say it's nothing but spiritual warfare, for real. And I'm not saying that to diminish people that are really going through psychological, a warfare with something that is happening in their neurons, or, you know, whatever else, other type of brain function, or, emotional instability that they may have in real life. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying for me, I think that's what's going on with me. And so So I'm just feeling like, okay, God, I'm doing this and everything, and, nobody really cares like what I do. And I'm not doing it for other people. I'm doing it for God anyways. But like nobody really cares. I'm not, New York Times bestseller for this book. I'm not, somebody who's on a platform that a lot of people know. I don't have millions of subscribers yet, or anything like that. I'm just this regular person who's just being obedient, serving because God told me to. I'm a person in a small town who literally is just being obedient. And I was really like during the fast, got like the adversary has been telling me like, why are you even posting? Like there's one or two people that like it. There's nobody on there. And I'm not doing it for people to like it. I'm doing it because I really wanted to help people. But I was feeling like, well, maybe I'm not helping anybody. Like I really had that thought in my mind, like, am I really doing anything by posting motivation or, inspirational quotes or things that help me during the day that I feel like will help somebody else? Like it doesn't even matter. Let me tell you how good God is. I'm sorry. I get home and I have this messenger message and I'm just like, oh, okay, this lady just sent me a messenger. Okay. You know, whatever. Like I'm not really thinking anything about it. I'm like, oh, it's great. This person sent me this thing and they sent me a voicemail message. Their voice is cracking and they're talking about life and how hard everything has been for them. And they said they've been really struggling in their life. And it just seems like everything's hitting them at once and they just didn't feel like there was hope, like it just felt like it was too much going on in their life and it wasn't anything along the lines of like calling a doctor or anything like that, but it was just like it just seems so overwhelming and I just don't know, it just feels like so much on me at once and I'm sorry, I'm a crier when it comes to these videos and like my purpose because it really means everything to me. Like God means everything to me and God places purpose on me. And I really truly care a lot. It's not just like, oh, I do this for fun just because I want to be something that I'm not, or I'm doing it because someone else is doing it, or whatever else. I'm doing it because I truly want to help people and because I know how it feels to feel like you're alone. I know how it feels to, go through things in your life and feel like you have to do it all by yourself and forget that God is there with you. I know how it is when you're going through something and everybody's so judgmental towards you that it feels like it's hard to make a better decision because nobody's there to help you. I know how it feels to truly feel like you want to handle it yourself, but it's so hard to keep going. It's so hard to feel it, like to really feel the motivation to really feel like you could do it. I know how it feels to be in that place. And she said, every time you post something inspirational on your page, it gives me hope during my day. And I really have been going through it. And that's the thing that I really look forward to. God is so good. Because I literally was feeling like maybe my voice didn't matter. I was really feeling like maybe, I'm doing this for no reason. Maybe God chose wrong. Maybe He wanted me to do something, but I'm just not doing enough. Like I thought that it had to be like huge and over the top, and it had to be somewhere that I'm not. And maybe I was in the wrong place, and maybe I wasn't where I thought I needed to be, or whatever else. And when she said that, it reminded me that I'm exactly where I need to be. That I absolutely can't give up, you know? Like I said, I'm not New York Times bestseller. I don't have a million followers. I'm not just some person who just is well known, super popular. Like I'm the type of person who posts a picture and like 5 people, 10 people like it. I'm not the type of person who has hundreds of thousands of people that are liking my pictures or my messages or anything like that. It's like 1 or 2 people. But the people that see it that are helped by it, it's always somebody that doesn't like it or doesn't comment or anything like that. And those are the people who need it the most, you know? And I really realized something at that moment when I read that.
I realized that none of that stuff matters. You know, what does matter is that my name will be written in the Lamb's Book of Life. The thing that really matters is that I'm in my purpose and I feel full in my soul. My spirit feels good because I'm helping somebody else. That's what matters in my life. I don't care about anything else. You know, sometimes we put so much stock in the things that really don't matter that we forget to appreciate the things that do. And I hope that for you, in conclusion, I hope that for you, you always remember what's most important in your life. That you always remember who you are. You remember whose you are. And that you know that no matter what you're going through, you are not alone. That whenever you're going through something difficult, you seek God above everything else. Because God will be there for you the moment that you call Him. Every time one of His children is in a low spot, every time one of His children is going through anything, He is always willing to listen and be there for you. He's not the type of God that's like, oh, well, what about you 10 years ago? You weren't looking for me then. He's there with open arms, waiting for you. Any moment that you want Him, any moment that you need Him, He will be right there. And you don't have to worry about blowing Him up. He wants to be blown. He wants you to keep blowing Him up. Like, He doesn't care about the fact that you calling on Him all the time. He wants you to call on Him whenever you need Him. He doesn't care about you, feeling insecure, because with Him you'll be secure because He's the God that He cannot lie. He doesn't he doesn't care about you trying to pretend to be something that you're not, because He knows you inside and out. He knows every single hair on your head. He knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. He knows everything about you. You don't have to front. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. You can call Him. You can talk to Him with improper English, slang, however it is that you need to talk to Him to go to God is how you can go to Him. And He will be right there with open arms. I promise you that. Never forget who you are, because this world and other people will try to make you feel like you're worthless. They'll try to make you feel like they don't choose you, but God chooses you every time. You just have to choose Him back.